You stand at the meat counter, looking at two ribeyes. One is labeled USDA Prime, the other is Choice. Prime costs 3 times more, and the only visible difference is a small purple shield on the packaging. You trust that shield. You assume it means a government lab tested the meat for tenderness and quality. But here is something that might surprise you. That grade was decided in 1 to 2 seconds. A single person glanced at one between the 12th and 13th rib. And the slaughterhouse paid for the inspection. It is not mandatory. That purple shield is not a food safety standard. It is a commercial service, and you are paying a premium for it every time you buy steak. In 1916, the United States Department of Agriculture created a beef grading system. It was not designed for restaurants or home cooks. It was built for the military, for hospitals, and for railroad dining cars. Institutions buying thousands of carcasses at once, needing a fast way to sort them into consistent batches. By 1927, USDA graders began stamping grades directly onto carcasses with a roller dipped in purple vegetable dye. The service was free at first. 12 months later, the government started charging plants a fee. Then something else happened. World War II forced mandatory grading as part of wartime price controls. Every cut of beef in America carried a government grade. When the war ended, the mandate disappeared, but the public perception did not. An entire generation grew up believing USDA grading was a legal requirement. It never was again. The original grades read like a logistics spreadsheet: prime, choice, good, medium, common, cutter, canner. 7 tiers designed to move inventory, not to judge flavor. That system, built for military mess halls in 1916, is still deciding what you pay for a ribeye in 2026. The core has barely changed. So here is what a 100-year-old grading system actually looks like on the kill floor. After slaughter, the carcass is split in half lengthwise. Then a worker makes one cut, a single cross-cut between the 12th and 13th rib. That exposed surface of the ribeye muscle is the only thing the grader evaluates. One slice. That is the entire exam. The grader looks at exactly 2 criteria. The first is marbling, the white flecks of intramuscular fat visible in the ribeye. USDA uses a scale that runs from practically devoid at the bottom to abundant at the top. Prime requires slightly abundant or higher. Choice requires small to moderate. Select requires slight. Everything below that goes to commercial or utility grades you never see at retail. The second criterion is maturity. The grader estimates the animal's physiological age by examining bone ossification and lean color. Young animals, Group A, roughly 9 to 30 months, qualify for the top grades. As maturity increases from B through E, the maximum possible grade drops. A mature animal with perfect marbling still cannot grade prime. One rule most consumers never learn: cows, mature females, cannot receive a prime grade regardless of marbling. Only steers and heifers qualify. Now consider the speed. 1 to 2 seconds per carcass. The grader sees the ribeye face, assesses marbling against the mental scale, checks maturity indicators, and stamps the grade. The entire economic trajectory of that animal, whether its cuts sell for $15 a pound or $50, is decided in the time it takes you to blink twice. In 2025, USDA approved 3 camera-based grading technologies to replace human eyes. One of them uses a Google Pixel 7 AI, a consumer smartphone, mounted above the line. The camera captures the ribeye surface. Software maps the marbling into a digital heat overlay. And an algorithm assigns the grade. No human judgment involved. The reason matters. Brian Flannery, one of the most respected beef buyers in the country, has described the core problem with human grading. If a grader expects roughly 2% of carcasses to grade prime, they unconsciously select the top 2% of each lot, even when that lot is below average. Prime becomes a relative pick, not an absolute standard. The camera does not have expectations. The regional numbers confirm it. Nebraska plants average 14.45% prime. Texas plants average 5.08%. Same country, same grading manual, same USDA shield. Completely different outcomes. Strip it down, and the whole system is this. One person or one phone looks at one slice for 2 seconds, counts the fat, and decides whether you pay $15 or $50 per pound. Compare that to Japan. The Japanese Meat Grading Association evaluates 4 criteria, not 2. Marbling, yes, but also meat color, fat color, and quality, and firmness and texture. A Japanese grader trains for 3 years before certifying a single carcass. The cut they examine is between the 6th and 7th rib, not the 12th and 13th. USDA prime falls roughly in the range of Japanese A2 to A3. A5 Wagyu, the grade American steakhouses charge $300 for, exists beyond the top of the American scale entirely. Angus cattle, the most common breed in the United States, average a marbling score of 2 and max out around 5. A5 Wagyu begins at 8. The American system measures how much fat you can see. The Japanese system measures what that fat looks like, how it feels, and what the lean around it tells you. Quantity versus quality. Here is where the story flips. Grass-fed beef, the product many health-conscious consumers pay extra for, is penalized by this grading system. Cattle raised on pasture produce fat tinted yellow by beta-carotene. That fat carries higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids, conjugated linoleic acid, and fat-soluble vitamins. By every nutritional marker, it is a better fat. But the system only rewards white intramuscular fat, the kind produced by grain finishing in feedlots. Grass-fed animals marble less. Less marbling means a lower grade. A lower grade means a lower price. The rancher is financially punished for raising cattle the way many consumers say they want cattle raised. The consumer sees yellow fat and assumes the meat is old. The opposite is true. Next time you're at the meat counter, look at the fat. Yellow means beta-carotene. The animal ate grass, not grain. Ungraded beef from a small ranch can taste as good as prime. Nobody paid to put a shield on it. The grade tells you one thing: visible intramuscular fat at one cross-section of the ribeye. Nothing about diet, breed, aging, or welfare. Useful, but not the whole story. One caveat: marbling does matter. It melts during cooking and bastes the muscle from within. The system isn't wrong, it's incomplete. The misconception persists because that purple shield looks like a government mandate. It's a voluntary commercial service the packing plant pays for. Branding turned a wartime tool into the consumer's gold standard. You are back at the meat counter. The ribeye is still there. The purple shield is still there. Now you know what it actually measures and everything it does not. That is the process. We reveal how things actually work, one story at a time. If there is something you would like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.